When the country is faced with humongous high rate of unemployment and government is trying to look for an institution that they can employ people, are you not saying that that will provide even an employment avenue for people? Look, don't compare us with
Indeed,
Niger
several
Delta.
cases
Niger
of
Delta,
corruption have trailed the NDDC.
Wait, you see, you are talking about corruption. Niger Delta was purely formed in order to settle some people, to reconstruct the place that is being destroyed, to help some people that are completely. I'm surprised you are talking about this, honestly, because this bill is the first. I've been in this National Assembly for a long time. This is the first time I have seen bill that has received a very overwhelming support from the general public, everybody. You need to go and see Northeast. We are so devastated, and we are not begging for this institution. It's a necessity that brought it. That's why we asked for it. And we are not asking for it because you are talking about trivialities like blood, employment, and all that. So if government is creating employment and then you are anticipating, we are not as corrupt as you think. Our people, if you give them, in fact, people are contributing their own money now for us to survive in the Northeast. So when we have Danjuma is leading, he's from the Northeast. He's leading, he raised amount. But we need an institution that will harmonize all these resources together.
But Your Excellency, several ministries have been rendered redundant in this country.
Now, what do
responsibilities that should go to them are given to new ministries that are newly established.
I hope we are not arguing. I thought you would get information from me. I'm trying to provide you with the information, Buki, that to justify why we need the Northeast Development Commission. As I told you, if it were like before the emergence of the insurgents, we would not need anything like Northeast Development Commission. But now we unfortunately find ourselves in this situation. And if you want us to be reintegrated into the Nigerian project, we need an institution that will concentrate on putting back in place those things that have been destroyed. That is all we're asking for. It's not something, it's not new. And Nigerians and the whole world is on the same page with us, except I will be surprised if you are not. But let me tell you, the American USAID, the DFID in the UK, all international development partners, all donor agencies, all churches all over the world have already started indicating their interest to contribute, but they need an institution. Where do they take their contribution or donation to? Right now, they are taking it to state government. People are not satisfied with that. And the international NGOs, by their own rule, they don't deal with government. They deal with NGOs. They deal with institutions. And that provides,
Your Excellency,
the NEDC now provides an institution where you can hold people accountable, where you can budget, where you can track, where you can look at what you have achieved last year and this year. And that is why we are clamoring for that.
And you're optimistic that at the end of 4 years, the same commentary that has trailed the Niger Delta Development Commission will not trail the Northeast Development Commission.
Don't compare us with Niger Delta, please. Don't compare us. Niger Delta.
It's not a comparison.
Niger Delta was formed.
The commission hasn't been established. It hasn't been tried and tested by time. The Northeast Development Commission.
So why would you now say we start comparing with institution that has failed, which is not fair?
All right, let's make progress now and look at the federal government's policy, on oil subsidy. The final removal of oil subsidy.
It was deregulated, so it's not removed. If you say you remove something, it means it is
Which
there.
Is why I'm going to ask if this government has articulated its policy as far as oil is concerned.
Wait, Buki, if you say you remove something, it means that thing is there, and then you remove it, isn't it? But it's not there. So, but what the government did was to deregulate. And let me tell you, the government didn't even have the money to subsidize. So because it doesn't have the money to subsidize, I'm providing you information.
Okay.
The government didn't have or doesn't have the money as it is now to subsidize for petrol, PMS. So it says, no, let's pull our hands off this, and everybody who is interested can bring in PMS and sell at a price that should not exceed so amount. That was what happened. So it's not like we didn't provide for it in the budget because there is no money. You can't go and borrow. Most of our budget is going to funded by borrowing, external and internal borrowing, 2.2 trillion. You can't go and borrow money to subsidize for petroleum that does not go around the masses. And the masses have agreed. You are from Lagos. That is why you can talk about subsidy. Because as far as I'm concerned, subsidy exists only in Abuja and Lagos. Even Kaduna here, there is no subsidy. You understand? Because people before now, all these things, besides the fact that it has been clouded by fraud, this government, especially that of President Muhammad Buhari, did not believe psychologically he did not believe in the subsidy, and he believed that it should, so removing or leaving it there doesn't make sense. But paying for it without justification is what he kicked against. You know what the type of fraud that is in that subsidy something when so many
which is why I want us to look at government's articulation of this oil subsidy issue, because you have said that government did not remove subsidy because you cannot remove something that wasn't there in the first place.
Yes.
Now, if you look at the Minister of State for Petroleum and what he has been saying about government's position on this issue, a lot of Nigerians are not clear about government's disposition. Many don't know if it is deregulation or price adjustment or price modulation. Now, has this government articulated its policy on oil?
No, this government
fairly to enable the average Nigerian understand why he has to pay for the landing, the extra cost incurred on the landing cost of petrol.
That is in Lagos. Lagos, because you come from Lagos. You understand? I agree with you that this government of President Muhammad Buhari does more work than talk. I think they should be talking more. Not talking more. Working and talking so that people will understand. I am one of those that vehemently oppose the removal of subsidy during Jonathan's administration because they had the money and they were spending the money anyhow. You understand? But this government came on board even up to the time they called the National Assembly to brief us on why the price of petroleum products have to be deregulated. It's deregulation, not removal of subsidy.
So if it is deregulation,
yes.
Deregulation suggests removing limitations.
No, not absolutely. If you do that, people will do everything what they can.
So is it partial? Is it partial deregulation?
The Nigerian Constitution allows you to talk anyhow, but they hold you responsible, isn't it? But there's freedom of
speech.
Freedom of speech. But you can't just come and start insulting me because there is freedom of speech. I'll take you to court. You understand? So the PPPRA, which is an establishment by Act of National Assembly, is there to regulate. Like if you import petroleum product and you add your profit, which is the maximum should be so, the NNPC is saying that if you sell at the maximum price you can charge is 145. Some, like Fort Oil, who are independent major marketers, is selling at 107, isn't it? He decided that he will import and sell at 107. There's one company again, something A.A. Rano in Kano, also reduce his own to, is it 105 or 1?
He has denied it.
Oh, he has denied it?
Yes, we've been following up on
but
developments in Kano.
But you know that for Fort Oil. And NNPC is, how much is it selling?
And NNPC is selling at 145 naira, by the way.
Okay, they are supposed to sell less than that.
They are supposed to sell.
Wait now, I'm taking you there and you are so much in a hurry. All these things with time. Don't you see now that there's petroleum everywhere? Very soon they will start competing and the price will start crashing. I'm telling you this.
But
what?
But the international community is also faced now with the possibility of an increase in the price of oil. And you know what happens where that goes up?
No.
Will Nigerians have to face another round of increase in the pump price of petrol when that happens?
No, that will not happen. that has been keyed into the projection.
But at the start of this administration,
Yes.
oil price was pegged at $28 per barrel.
And then it went down.
It has,
Wait,
it
now.
has gone up now.
No, when it was pegged at $28, is it not when the government equally reduced the pump price from 90 something to 86? Nobody talked about that.
So when it goes up
So
to
this
$60
per
barrel,
what that goes to tell you is that this government is sensitive and adjustable. If today the price goes down, the government will adjust it downward.
if it goes up,
It won't go up more than this, because that was the highest. Even when the price was selling at 100 and it was selling, the pegged price was 100, 140 something. So the price margin gap is wide enough to accommodate the shock and the increase.
I hope
telling
that
you
I'm
this.
going to have to be able to quote you
quote
when
me.
that
But
happens.
I'm not a Babalawo, so I cannot predict what is going to happen tomorrow.
All right, you're watching Fireworks, and I have been talking with the Senate leader of Nigeria's Senate, Senator Ali Ndume. We'll take a break. When we return, we'll look at more topical issues on Fireworks. Stay with us. Thank you for staying tuned. You're watching Fireworks, and in the last half hour, I have been chatting with the Senate leader, Senator Ali Ndume. We've been looking at a lot of topical national issues, and we're making progress, staying with the issue of oil subsidy. Senator, thank you for your time. Now, the commentary as far as oil subsidy is concerned is from government officials that Nigerians should, make the sacrifice now. Things are going to be better. Indeed, the Vice President was saying just yesterday that the price of fuel will come down. Now, if you're asking Nigerians to tighten their belts, to sacrifice now and endure the hardship that they're currently facing, have Nigerian leaders demonstrated, led by example? Have they made the sacrifice themselves? Have they tightened their belt?
Well, that is a relative question. First of all, it's just that Nigerians have not been fair to one another. That's the way I put it. Otherwise, why I'm saying this is, what has the fall in the value of naira as to dollar, for example, has to do with price of gari, pounded yam, pepper, tomato in our market. When dollar dropped, when naira, it fell against dollar, suddenly the price of gari in our market went up. It's not imported. That is one. Two, now, the regulation we are talking about is that of petrol, PMS. Most of our goods from, producing areas, rural areas, to the urban areas, like, wherever you call it, is moved by diesel. There is no subsidy on diesel. Even last time, there's no subsidy on kerosene. So if they remove, so to say, or if they deregulate the PMS price, I'm expecting that at worst, maybe the price of taxi within the city, maybe that is what will go up. But even the price of buses that use diesel didn't go up. So the problem we have in Nigeria is that we take advantage of ourselves.
But I'm talking about the leaders here, not Nigerians.
No, I'm coming about who are Nigerians. The leaders are part of Nigerians. If it is me, like in the National Assembly or the leadership in terms they are talking about, or the Vice President that is saying that Nigerians should endure more, that things will get better. What he's saying is that the leadership will look at these issues and address them as it is. They will start asking these questions and then doing something about it. That is what the Vice President is saying. And Buki, are you expecting the Vice President to speak otherwise, or to tell Nigerians, go out to the street, or don't endure? Because if there is no pain, no pain,
no gain.
Thank you.
But when the National Assembly, when the Senate purchases 36 SUVs at the rate of 36 million naira, has it led by example? Has it endured hardship?
I know.
When you apportion much more to
Oh my
travels
God.
for the presidency, in 2016 budget, even more than the last administration, have you cut down? Have you tightened your belt? Have you led by example?
You want me to answer?
I want you to answer.
Well, why are you overflogging on this issue?
When you apportion
Wait
more,
now,
Your
you have not
Excellency,
allowed
to
me.
the Ministry
Wait,
of
Buki.
Information and less to the Ministry of Agriculture, and you intend to diversify the economy.
Okay,
have you
listen.
led by
So
example?
you continue talking, then I will not talk. So what do you want me to say now? You don't want me to talk. You ask questions.
Please go ahead.
Please, this Senate will have to work. If it has to work, it needs the necessary tools to work, one of which is to transport the senators or allow the senators to move to do their oversight job. You don't expect the Senate to do an effective oversight on an MDA that will provide transportation or provide logistics for that committee. That is one. And it has been in the system. And how much is it going to cost? 109 vehicles for senators, 360 for members. It has been the tradition in this country. What I am against, or what I'm against right now is injustice. If public officers like ministers, like PAMSECs, directors, commissioners, members of House of Assembly, commissioners in the state, heads of parastatals and departments are being, provided with vehicles, why would senators not be provided with vehicles? I am against the purchase of official vehicles to all public officers. But if, as it is now, you buy cars or official vehicles for official use by public officers, then there's no reason why the Senate should be picked out to say they are making sacrifice to be excluded from getting cars that will do their job. I want you to get this very clear. A minister who did not contest election, who is an appointee, is driving at least a convoy of 3 cars. Let me be conservative on that. Or 4, or even some of them 6. PAMSEC have 2 cars or so.
Then is Nigeria serious
about
cutting down
what I'm
on
saying,
excess,
Buki,
needless spending?
So let us not talk about it. Now we are approaching the end of the year 2016. By next year, if I would support the fact that no public officer should be given an official vehicle, or you buy any official, you cancel that. You give them car loan to buy, or you provide buses as it is. If it is a policy, I support that. But is it fair, for example, in my state, I have 9 local government in my zone, Borno South. Each of these, we have 9 chairmen of the local government. Each chairman of the local government is given an official vehicle, Land Cruiser that the senators are buying for the senators. Now, each of them. I personally don't care, and if a vehicle can bring me to the National Assembly here, I'm contented. So it's not a big deal, but as a matter of my privilege as a Senate leader, it can be me today, Mohammed Ali Ndume, but it can be Buki to you tomorrow, and it can be this, who is that sitting on my seat that is hoping to be a Senate leader. If she's the one, it's a matter of the office, not the person. Do you understand? And if we are making the sacrifice good, everybody should make that sacrifice.
Across the board.
Yeah.
Thank God you have called it privileges. Now, that's why I want to ask this question. Are we talking about lawmakers, senators who were part of the 7th Assembly, who had benefited from transport allowances and car loans? Are we talking about the same?
This is something that is happening every 4 years.
Come again and collect car loans and more vehicles.
Unfortunately,
so
you
should
see,
this government be taking seriously when it says it wants to combat corruption and cut down on expenses?
Buki asked question and I give you information. I've
All
been
right.
here since 2003. The money that is being spent on vehicles in the country to public officers, if you look at what is spent on the National Assembly, is just an insignificant fraction. In fact, even our budget this year is 115 billion. And if you take the percentage of that vis-a-vis the 6.06 trillion budget, it gives you about 1.8% of the national budget. That is an arm of government. 1.8% or thereabouts.
Senator Ndume, this figure is more than the budget of a couple of states put together. That doesn't worry you, doesn't bother you as a public officer.
It's an arm of government. It's more than a state. What we have here is a federation, configuration of federation. 109 federal constituencies. It's not a state. It's supposed to be more than a state.
Is the population of this arm of government up to 1 million? We're talking about states that constitute...
No. Then you are making a mistake. We are having
3 million people.
Now, you are talking about, it's not me. It's the constitution that says 3 senators will represent a state. So is that my fault?
But one out of the
Well, so
millions
one
of
senator,
people you represent,
yes,
Senator
people
Ndume,
elected me.
I've never seen 1
let me
million
tell
naira
you.
in their entire lives.
Who?
That doesn't bother you.
Who?
Perhaps one
No,
out of the people
even if you go
represent.
to America, you find people still, they have
Also, the poor will always be poor.
No, that is not what I'm saying. You are mixing things up.
Right. Well, as far as privileges of public office holders are concerned,
I think that is too much.
We'll never sufficiently look into that
and
issue.
you know,
that's why I want us to make progress.
Yeah.
Leave that issue and
under these circumstances, I think
another.
Nigerians should consider reviewing the privileges and the rights of public officers, not politicians only.
Downward review.
Downward review. In fact, left to me, this job in the National Assembly, if Nigerians want it, it should be part-time. Let's see how we can fashion that out. But what I'm saying is, that's why I gave you the percentage.
But has this same institution not become a financial burden to the citizenry?
115 billion. Then advocate for its scrapping, and then you define what we'll have without the National Assembly.
All right. Now let's make progress. On the 21st of November 2011, it was reported that you were arrested on trumped-up charges of terrorism. Prior to that time, you were appointed to negotiate on talks with Boko Haram. Let's talk about your alleged links to the insurgent group. Provide us with clarity. What exactly is the case?
The case is still in court, and because of its sub judice nature, you see, I don't want to talk so much about it. If you hold on, it will come out. Whether I'm guilty, not guilty, it will come out at the end of it. But the good thing about it, which clearly shows, this issue of Boko Haram was trivialized at the beginning. I have said it, and I think that is when government started getting annoyed and came after me.
I understand your inability to say too much about this because it's still in court, but I'll round off by asking one question. It is said that you had disagreements with Senator Ali Ndume, who fingered you, who allegedly was responsible for your ordeal. So I want just a brief response to this. Was he or is he truly responsible for your ordeal?
No. I don't. Ali Sharif is not somebody that I would say is responsible for my delay. I'm a strong believer in God. Nothing that would have happened to me if God had not destined. I look at this purely as a trivial that God has destined that I'll go through, either to test my faith or to put me through a certain test that I'll have to come out.
He never mentioned you as having links to...
I don't care what he says about me, really. As a politician, going through what I went through by whoever, is it either Ali Sharif or this as the cause? I don't want to say Ali Sharif is the cause of my problem, no.
All right, we want to thank you very much, Senator Ali Ndume, for your time on Fireworks today. Thank you very much. And the program has been an eye-opener. Indeed, it has been nice talking to you too, sir. It's been an eye-opener. We know where Senator Ali Ndume stands on a lot of issues, most of them topical. We know where he stands where oil subsidy is concerned, and he has openly called for the scrapping of the National Assembly. But indeed, he asks, what will Nigeria's democracy be left with in the absence of the National Assembly? And of course, he's also talked about very, very sensitive issues where his personality is concerned. That's how it's been on Fireworks today. We urge you to join us again, same time next week, when we bring you another incisive edition. On behalf of the crew, I am Bukola Samuel. Bye for now.